Hey, SBI Nation, this is Melissa Valdez. I'm the Director of Client Engagement here at SBI, and I welcome you to the Revenue Growth Help Desk Insights. I'm super excited today to host because one, I got to wash my hair, and two, I get to introduce my highly capable and esteemed colleague. Clients ask for her by name. She is a marketing genius, and if you've caught any of our material in the last few weeks, you have seen her face and heard her voice. So Laura Hall, thank you for joining us today. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your background, and your role here at SBI?
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for the glowing intro. I too washed my hair, so I appreciate the opportunity to do this. Um, I have been with SBI a little over a year. I came from a SaaS successful startup background. Before that, in sales engagement consulting, and had some additional marketing background before that. So excited to be here, and now in my role as an executive consultant at SBI, enjoying working with the variety of clients that we have.
Well, Laura, you are underselling yourself. You have been quite a tremendous addition to our team, and we're happy to have you. But today we're going to talk about the concept of community, which has been a hot topic buzzword over the last few weeks during COVID-19. And Laura, being an expert on community, wanted to get your insights and your feedback for people out there listening. So I thought we could take a little journey here and start. If you see the slide that we've got up on screen, I think it's safe to say that we've moved past phase one of the GTM strategy for COVID-19. But one of those steps, obviously a very critical step, was connecting to your community, both internally and externally. So Laura, now that we're weeks into this process, what have you seen market leaders doing in terms of activity, engagement, messaging? What are you seeing that's working, and what results are they seeing?
And it's been pretty incredible to see how people have been able to pivot and adjust. I mean, number one, just to remote work, right? And moving offices home in less than 24 hours in a lot of cases. And really building in or leaning into the communities that either they've already built and they've been able to pivot a little bit more to really focus on customer success, or trying to find different ways to still build community and interact with customers in a way that adds value. They're not even trying to pitch or sell anything anymore. It's really just been us coming together as sort of a global B2B community to help each other out. So it's been really neat and inspiring to see, and has just driven home what we already knew about community, right? People need community as human beings. There was a neuroscientist at UCLA that found that more than power, money, or fame, people's brains are rewarded most when they're connecting meaningfully with others. So we've been doing a lot of that in the last couple months, obviously.
Definitely want to be part of a tribe, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So what you co-hosted a webinar a few weeks ago for the CMO and how to remotely engage with their community. And for those of you in the audience who did not catch that webinar, you can find the replay on our website at salesbenchmarkindex.com. But it was really insightful and chock full of ideas of how to engage with the community. So tell us now what you're seeing in terms of companies working cross-functionally. And you mentioned customer success. Are they pulling product and sales? How are they all working cross-functionally to keep this community momentum going? And what metrics are they using so that they know what good looks like?
Yeah, so I mean, community marketing is typically, we've thought of it as a growth strategy, right? Centered around bringing customers together over some topic that's aligned with or directly related to your brand. But it's always meant to be non-intrusive. But now, even more so than ever, retention and customer success has become so important. So you see marketing reaching out to their salespeople, to their customer success functions, to figure out, what customers are really needing right now, and how can we provide the right content or support around that, and also identifying specific customers. It's a time where we've been able to get deeply personalized. So if you have a group of customers that have a common problem, I've seen a lot of people be successful at uniting them together. Maybe they're not necessarily direct competitors, but hosting even a virtual happy hour or setting up some kind of like maybe even a Slack channel so that these people can network together and bounce ideas, because none of us actually really know what is going to happen, right? What's going to happen next? We've never dealt with this before. Hopefully we'll never deal with it again. But it's become more important than ever for like-minded people to just come together and help provide solutions to each other, or at least gain a consensus on, yes, I think this makes sense, right? Sometimes you just need to have that reassurance as you're moving forward into uncharted territories.
Definitely. And I think, we've put a lot of emphasis that's obviously important on resegmenting the customer base and really understanding kind of what's going on there. I think, and tell me if you agree with me, that community really, you have an opportunity to kind of segment that if you want, but it's also just a more holistic approach and just bringing people together, like you said, and really just having the opportunity to bring everyone together into a forum where they can talk about challenges, opportunities, and such. And then, a question I have for you based on that, what sort of like breakouts are you seeing? You mentioned Slack channel or maybe hosting a happy hour. Do you think what do you think what kind of results that strategy provides? And is that something that you see moving, gearing towards the future?
Yeah, I definitely think it'll keep carrying forward to the future. A lot of people think of community, and even I, when I was first getting into a marketing role that focused on community at all, thought about communities as, oh, well, now I have to go buy some kind of online platform and get people to come in and use it. And that's just not true. I mean, you could do it with maybe your, like if you have a highly technical community that needs to have a very brand specific or product specific place to go to exchange ideas, coding and whatnot. But with executives, I mean, a lot of us, I mean, you and I, we don't want another place to go. I'm up to my ears in other communities already, whether it be LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever you like to socialize. So think about it as a way you can add value without recreating the wheel. So meet your customers where they are. If they're on LinkedIn already, maybe you form a LinkedIn community. I mean, SBI Nation, we formed ours and have had some great engagement there because we know that's where the people that we talk to most often hang out. Another way that community is formed is just by making connections. So if you have a network filled with people that are CMOs of technology companies, I mean, bring those people together. They probably want to talk to each other. So that's an opportunity for doing a maybe even executive lunch and learn, right? You could send them Grubhub gift cards and have everybody come around on a Teams call, Zoom call, whatever video conferencing platform you use, and just exchange ideas or have a conversation or let each other know you're not alone. And these times are unprecedented, to use the buzzword, but we're always going to have things that we're struggling and trying to figure out because nobody's got all the answers. So it's not going to go away just because maybe the pandemic is past us, hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon. No, you're right. I think you mentioned my takeaway there is that you don't have to get cute. You don't have to get fancy. You've got to
don't have to spend a lot of money.
You got to start somewhere. And if you're targeting for the party in terms of community, that's okay. You got to start somewhere, right? So Laura just gave a lot of really great examples of how to do that. And if you have a more sophisticated platform or means or team to carry that out, that's fantastic. But not everyone has that. So if anyone out there has been afraid of community, it's time to move past your fear and take action, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's really just a way to help your customers feel like their voice is heard and feel like they belong somewhere. And ultimately it leads to loyalty. It should, work in your favor in the long run, but it shouldn't be a sales tactic.
Absolutely. You want to play the long game with this one, right?
Yeah, totally.
So my last question for you, Laura, it's like a multi-part question. It's seeing into the foreseeable future, if you will. In the last few weeks, we've had some interesting news. Obviously, some states are starting to open up, like Texas, where I'm located. But there seems
Georgia, where I'm located.
Where you're located, exactly.
Yeah.
There seems to be a proverbial light at the end of the tunnel, we think. So I'm curious to know what you think about the future of community and how we carry this push for community, this momentum into the near future. How are executive leaders going to use community and the information that they're gathering from their communities and carry that into their 2021 go-to-market strategies? And then what are the dangers of not continuing the push for community?
Oh, that's a lot. So I think that, we're all trying to predict what everything's going to look like going forward. Officially, Georgia's opened back up, but nobody's really opened back up yet. We've also learned that maybe we don't necessarily have to travel as much as we were to do our jobs. We have this great technology like you and I right now in a video call. Our company's been doing happy hours. We don't necessarily need to spend the money that we were in the past doing summits a couple times a year. So the same thing I find I'm betting on will happen with community. You think about events and the increase in virtual events that we'll see from this. That's another place where people form community. I think we'll see more of those. We'll see more of these roundtable type discussions being taken virtually, which is great because then you no longer have the geography boundaries. So I think that there's no reason why a virtual community can't continue to add value and won't continue to add value going forward. It's just more fiscally and honestly environmentally responsible. And then as far as leadership, I mean, any executive leader should be involved in your community efforts, and they should be excited to do so, because building a community also brings an opportunity for the leadership to interact with customers and hear their feedback firsthand. I read a stat the other day. It was something like almost all, I think it was 90% of the Fortune 500 report that they have received more detailed information about their customers and their needs through a community than anywhere else. So this is a fantastic way to really get to the pulse of what's happening in your customer base and your prospect base, and be a little more, have a little more foresight when you're going forward with your 2021 strategy and beyond.
Absolutely. And you just said it best. It's just a way to place the ELT on the front lines. I mean, maybe they're not out there, as Matt likes to say, carrying a briefcase and on the front lines in terms of selling, but it does give them an opportunity to be on the front lines, which is extremely valuable, like you said, in forming their strategy for the upcoming year. And I think that's been a big concern for people. We've had a lot of questions about not so much carrying through the rest of this year, but how will this affect 2021? And so I think you're right. Just this push for community, all of the efforts involved. It's been insightful. It's been hopefully rewarding for most people, both professionally and personally, just to connect with different fans out there. And again, like you said, building your community base and playing the long game for a conversion later.
Right, yeah, and you don't want to give up on it too, because you've already spent all this time laying the groundwork and setting that tone for transparency and openness, and the fact that you want to get a better understanding of customers or just get to know them better. And so if you all of a sudden shift and shut it down as soon as we're able to travel again, that's going to kind of lead to some distrust too, right? I mean, I'm thinking about the things that I do even in my personal life. We have some really great friends that live in Colorado that we don't get to see very often. We've been doing virtual happy hours with them every other week. It's just about keeping in touch. And just because we're able to travel again doesn't mean I'm not going to do that, because there's no way I can, travel to Colorado every other week. But it's the same thing in the business community. Just take what you're doing in your personal life and translate it over to business, and it's really no different. You have to keep up those relationships.
That's such an excellent point to end with there. And like you said, it's all about people. We're all just people just trying to get through the day, right?
Yep, it's all human.
Well, Laura, I thank you for taking the time to talk to me, to talk to our audience today. And if you're out there listening, I hope you have some valuable takeaways from this conversation. Certainly, you can get in touch with us anytime if you have any additional questions, or if there's anything we can do to provide further insight. Until next time, thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
And I wish you out there in the audience best of luck as you try to make
thank you.